Shalom, shalom. I'll start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, Bashim Kahakodash. As you can see, I'm gonna title this video, basically, the bringing down of strongholds. Okay. I was reading this article, and even going through, I was riding to work, and it was on a radio morning show about why people aren't going to church anymore. And they had a Christian so-called pastor call in, and he was giving all of his reasons why people aren't attending church. It varied from the times that we're living in, but the key thing he said was nobody trusts Christian pastors. Now, this is 2 Corinthians 10:3. It says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High, the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach." Okay? So, with that being said, it should be understood that the reason why church and the attendance and all these things are on the decline is the bringing down of strongholds. Because if you can remember, years back, you always had your grandmother bring you to church. It was just this household thing on Sunday. Even at family reunions, everybody gonna wake up and we're going to church. You know what I'm saying? So when this information came forth, you just start seeing the foundation of the Christianity being cracked. Now it's breaking. It's basically broken, because once you shatter a glass, it can't be put back together. So now everybody's in doubt. And the article is "The Misunderstood Reason Millions of Americans Stop Going to Church." It says, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says, "Nearly everyone I grew up with in my childhood church in Lincoln, Nebraska is no longer Christian. That's not unusual. 40 million Americans have stopped attending church in the past 25 years. That's something like 12% of the population, and it represents the largest concentrated change in church attendance in American history." Ain't that something? Okay, let me get a little bit more of this article. It says, "This change is bad news for America as a whole. Participation in a religious community generally correlates with better health outcomes and longer life, higher financial generosity, and more stable families." Right. Okay, and even the scripture always also tells us that the time shall wax cold. Many shall wax cold, and the time's going to be, so nobody even trying to hear about nothing in religion, But that's from the bringing down of strongholds. Like, you have to understand, when this idea was put out there about the 501c3 charter, about everybody, the Christian pastors being fake in churches, it put something in people's mind that's coming from the place of truth through Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Okay? It says, a new book written by Jim Davis, a pastor at an evangelical I always have a hard time pronouncing this word, evangelical church in Orlando, and Michael Graham, a writer with the Gospel Coalition, draws on surveys of more than 7,000 Americans by the political scientist Ryan Burge. Yeah, that's not important. Attempting to explain why people have left the church or de-churched the book's lingo, and what, if anything, can be done to get people to come back. The book raises the intriguing possibility: what if the problem isn't that churches are asking too much of their members, but they aren't asking nearly enough? So it babbles on about a bunch of stupidity, but it gets to a point in here where it talks about people not trusting the pastor, you know, saying it's basically for money, you know, and that they stop trusting them, you know, and a lot of them, you can actually see this, you know. Let me read this last part. It says, after a few weeks of either scenario, the thought of going to church on Sunday carries a certain mental burden with us. You might want to go, but you also dread the inevitable questions about where have you been. I skipped church for to go to a brunch with a friend, or I was just too tired to come. Don't sound like convincing excuses as you rehearse the conversation in your mind. Soon it actually sounds like it'd be harder to attend than to skip. That's crazy. It says the underlying challenge for many is that their lives are stretched like a rubber band about to snap, and church attendance ends up feeling like an item on a checklist that's already too long. You know what I'm saying? And people are finding better things to do. So that shows you the spirit of Christianity and the power of the God that the Most High didn't set up is on this place, but it's being crumbled up. It's being devalued. You know what I'm saying? People are really seeing it never really had value to it. So now they're like, well, would I really not make it to heaven? A lot of people don't even believe in those things anymore. And you wonder why? Because the truth has superseded anything in this place. And look who he did to do it. Look who he chose to do it. Men that nobody saw anything in. The Most High said he was going to take people who look foolish and make them like overtake the wise. So everything that made sense to these people, once they got the seed of we're the true children of Israel, you can read it in the Bible, and all these things came full circle. What happened? Now these people just started to look and pay just a little bit of attention to what could possibly be. And then it's just like, you know what? Altogether, we're just not going to believe none of it, because now the Christian pastors lie. You know, they got airplane strips in their backyards and things of that nature. So it's like, man, I'm not going to that place because it's deceit there. And that deceit has been called out. Okay. With that, I'm going to say shalom.